vacation. Too hot. Sunny place this Christmas. I would go with you, but Dad's waiting, and he's got an appointment in Duluth. He'll go all faint if I don't get out there this second. Tell me what she says. She ran toward the parking lot, and I jogged toward Olivia. Olivia, she jerked, and I caught her elbow, as if she would fly away if I didn't. I've been trying to call you. Olivia pulled her stocking cap down and balled herself up against the chill. Yeah, for a single moment I thought about waiting to see what she would say, to see if she would confess to knowledge about the wolves without prompting, but the buses were pulling in and I didn't want to wait. I lowered my voice and I said in her ear, I saw your photograph with Jack. She abruptly turned to face me. You were the one who took him. I tried with some success to keep the accusation out of my voice. Isabel showed them to me. I demanded, why didn't you tell me? Why wouldn't you call me? She bit her lip and looked across the parking lot. I was going to at first to tell you that you were right, but then I ran across Jack and he told me I couldn't tell anyone about him, and I just felt guilty, like I was doing something wrong. I stared at her. Have you talked to him? Olivia shrugged, unhappy, and shivered in the growing chill of the afternoon. I was taking photos of the wolves like always, and I saw him. She lowered her voice and leaned in toward me. Change, become human again. I couldn't believe it. And he had no clothing, and my house wasn't far, so I had him come over and get some of John's clothes. I guess I was just trying to convince myself I wasn't crazy. Thanks, I said sarcastically. It took her a moment, then she said quickly, oh, Grace, I know you told me at the very beginning, but what was I supposed to do? Believe you? It sounds impossible. It looks impossible, but I felt sorry for him. He doesn't belong anywhere now. How long has this been going on? Something was stinging at me. Betrayal or something. I told Olivia at the very beginning about my suspicions, and she'd waited until I came to her and admit anything. I don't know. A while. I've been giving him food and washing his clothes and stuff. I didn't know where he's been staying. We talk a lot until we had a fight about the cure. I was cutting glass to talk to him and trying to get more photos of the wolves. I wanted to see if any others would change. She paused. Great. He said that you were bitten and cured. That's true. Well, that I was bitten, you knew that. But I didn't ever change into a wolf, obviously. Her eyes were intent on me. Ever. I shook my head. No. Have you told anybody else? Olivia gave me another withering look. I'm not an idiot. Well, Isabel got those photos somehow. If she can. Anyone can. I don't have any photos that really show what's going on, Olivia said. I told you I'm not a total idiot. I just have I just hit the camera. Let me fix you guys. Sorry, it's because I have it on this stand. It's gonna make a little noise, so bear with me. Okay. Photos of the before and after, and who would believe anything from that? Isabel, I said. Olivia frowned at me. I'm being careful anyway. I haven't seen him since we fought. I have to go. She gestured at the bus. You really never changed. Now it was my turn to give her a withering look. I never lied to you, Olive. She looked at me for a long beat, then she said, do you want to come back to my house? I kind of wanted her to think that she was sorry for not confiding in me, for not answering my calls, for fighting with me, for not saying you were right. So I just said, I'm waiting for Sam. Okay, maybe another day this week. I blinked, maybe. Then she was gone onto the bus, just a silhouette in the windows, making her way around to the back. And I had thought that hearing her admit to knowing about the wolves would give me some closure, but all I felt was uneasy disquiet. After all this time looking for Jack, and Olivia had known where to find him all along, I wasn't sure what to think. In the parking lot, I saw the Bronco pulling in slowly, heading in my direction. Seeing Sam behind the wheel gave me peace in a way that the conversation with Olivia had. It strange how seeing my own car could just make me so happy. Sam leaned over to unlatch the passenger side door for me. He looked a little tired. He handed me a steaming styrofoam cup of coffee. Your phone rang just a few minutes ago. Thanks. I climbed into the Bronco and gratefully accepted the coffee. I'm a zombie today. I was dying for caffeine, and I just had the weirdest conversation with Olivia. I'll tell you about it once I'm properly caffeinated. Where's my phone? Sam pointed to the glove compartment. Climbing into the Bronco, I opened the glove compartment and retrieved the phone. One new message. I dialed the voicemail and put it to speakerphone, and I set the phone on the dash while I turned to Sam. I'm ready now, I told him. Sam looked at me, eyebrows doubtful. For my kiss. Sam chewed his lip. I prefer the surprise attack. You have one new message, said the recorded call. Cell phone, babe. A grimace, throwing myself back in the seat. You drive me crazy, he grinned. Hi, honey, you'll never guess who I ran into today. Mom's voice buzzed out of the cell phone speaker. You could just throw yourself at me, I suggested. That would be fine. Mom sounded excited. Naomi, Ed, you know, from my school. I didn't cars were just getting onto the highway, but visible white exhaust into the frosty air. Sam used one hand to drive and used the other one to twine his fingers with mine. This was so much better than staying at home with a casserole. By the time we got off the interstate, I had either gotten used to the smell of Sam's anxiety, or he had calmed down, because the only odor in the car was his musky wolfwood scent. So I said and ran my finger over the back of his cool hand. Where are we going anyway? Sam glanced over at me, the dash lights illuminating his doleful smile. There's a wonderful candy shop in Duluth. It was incredibly cute that he'd driven us an hour just to go to a candy shop. Incredibly stupid given the weather report, but incredibly cute nonetheless. I've never been. That's have to be the most amazing caramel apples, Sam promised, and those gooey things, I don't know why they are. I don't even know what they are. Probably a million calories in a hot chocolate. Oh man, Grace, it's amazing. I couldn't think of anything to say. I was idiotically entranced by the way he said Grace, the tone of it, the way his lips formed the vowels, the timbre of his voice stuck in my head like music. I even wrote a song about their troubles, he confessed. They got my attention. I heard you playing the guitar for my mom. She told me it was a song about me. Why don't you ever sing it for me? Sam shrugged. I looked past him at the brilliantly illuminated city. Every building and bridge lit bravely against the early winter darkness. We were heading downtown. I couldn't remember the last time I'd been there. It had been very romantic, and add to your walking stereotypes draped grin. Sam didn't look away from the road, but his lips curled up. I grinned, then looked away and watched our progress downtown. He didn't even look at the road signs as he navigated his way down the evening streets. Streetlights, striped lights across the windshield, and the white light stripe below us, making time above and below. Finally he parked and gestured to a warmly lit shop a few doors ahead of us. He turned to me. Heaven. Together we got out of the car and jogged the distance. I didn't know how cold it was, but the breath formed a shapeless cloud in front of me as I pushed open the glass door to the candy shop. Sam pushed into the warm yellow glow after me, arms clasped around himself. The bell was stinging from our entrance when Sam came from behind me and pulled me to him, crushing his arms over my chest. He whispered in my ear, "Don't look, close your eyes and smell it. Really smell it. I know you can." I leaned my head back against his shoulders, feeling the heat of his body against me, and closed my eyes. My nose was inches away from the skin on his neck, and that was what I smelled. Earthly, wild, complex. Not me, he said. It's all I smell, I murmured, opening my eyes to look up at him. Don't be stubborn, Sam said. Sam turned me slightly so that I was facing the center of the shop. I saw shelves and tin cookies and candies and the glint of glass counter beyond them. Given for once is worth it. His sad eyes implored me to explore something I'd left untouched for years. Something more than untouched, something I'd buried alive. Buried when I thought I was alone. pointed out, you racked the chocolate. Sam shook his head. Could we get 2 hot chocolates, whipped cream? Do you have to ask? She grinned at us and turned around to prepare it. A whiff of rich chocolate gussed over the counter when she opened the tin of cocoa, while she dribbled peppermint extract into the bottom of the paper cups. I turned to Sam and took his other hand. I stood on my toe and stole a soft kiss from his lips. Surprise attack, I said. Sam leaned down and kissed me back, his mouth lingering on mine, teeth grazing my lower lip, making me shiver. Surprise attack back. Sorry, I got a message, so I was like making my neck all twig. Sneaky, I said, my voice breathier than I intended. You two are too cute, the counter girl said, setting 2 cups piled up with whipped cream on the counter. She had a soft and lopsided open smile that made me think she laughed a lot. Seriously, how long have you been going out? Sam let go of my hands to get his wallet and took out some bills. 6 years. I wrinkled my nose to give her a laugh. Of course, he would count the time that we had been two entirely different species. Whoa, the counter girl nodded appreciatively. That's pretty amazing for a couple your age. Sam handed me my hot chocolate and didn't answer, but his yellow eyes gazed at me possessively. I wondered if he realized that way he looked at me was far more intimate than copying a feel could ever be. I crouched to look at the almost bark at the bottom shelf in the counter. I wasn't bold enough to look at either of them when I admitted, well, it was love at first sight. The girl sighed. That is so romantic. Do me a favor and don't you two ever change. The world needs more love at first sight. Some voice was up. Do you want some of those, Grace? Something in his voice that catch made me realize that my words had come off more in effect than it intended. I wonder when it was the last time someone had told him he loved him was. That was really a sad thing to think about. I stood up and took Sam's hand again. His fingers gripped mine so hard it almost hurt. I said, those buttercreams look fantastic. Actually, can we get some of those? Sam nodded at the girl behind the counter. A few minutes later, I was clutching a small paper bag of sweets, and Sam had whipped cream at the end of his nose. I pointed it out, and he grimaced, embarrassed, wiping it off with his sleeve. I'm going to start the car, I said. Handing him the bag, he looked at me without saying anything, so I had to warm it up. Let's see. Damn, that's wild. Can't relate. Yeah, I bet. Sorry. He looked at me without saying anything, so I had to warm it up. Oh, right. Good thinking. I'd forgotten. I think he'd forgotten how cold it was outside. I hadn't, though, and I had a horrible picture in my head of him spasming to the car. While we tried to get the heat higher, I left him in the store and headed out to the dark winter night. It was weird how soon the door closed behind me. I felt utterly alone. was only part of the truth, but at least it was the truth. I want to meet him, Grace said immediately. My face must have gone funny because she said, Beck, I mean, he's practically your dad, isn't he? I rubbed my fingers over the steering wheel's eyes glancing from the road, and my knuckles pressed into a white grip. Strange how some people took their skin for granted. I thought of what it would mean to lose it, sloughing my skin. Leaving its grip, stripped from my wrist. It hurts to be me. I thought of the most fatherly memory I had of Beck. We had this big grill at his house, and I remember one night he was tired of doing the cooking, and he said, Sam, you're feeding us tonight. He showed me how to push on the middle of the steaks to see how done they were, and to sear them fast on each side to keep the juices in, and they were awesome, weren't they? I burned the hell out of them. I said, matter of fact, I compare them to charcoal, but charcoal is still sort of edible. Grace laughed. Beck ate his, I said, smiling. Ruefully at the memory, he said it was the best steak he'd ever had because he had to make it. That felt like a long time ago. Grace was smiling at me like stories about me and my pack leader were the greatest thing in the world. Like they were inspirational, like we had something, Beck and me, father and son. In my head, the kid in the back of the Tahoe looked at me and said, help. Grace asked, how long has it been? I mean, not since the steak, since you were bitten. I was 11 years ago, she asked. Why were you in the woods? I mean, you're from Duluth, aren't you? Or at least that's what you said in your driver's license. I wasn't attacked in the woods, I said. It was all over the paper. Grace's eyes held me. I looked away in the dim road. In front of us, two wolves attacked me while I was getting onto the school bus. One of them held me down, and the other one bit me, ripped at me, really as if the only goal had been to draw blood. But of course, that had been the goal, hadn't it? Looking back, it seemed so painfully clear. I'd never thought to look beyond my simple childhood memory of being attacked by wolves and Beck stepping in as my savior after my parents had tried to kill me. I had been close to Beck, and Beck had been so clever approached that I hadn't wanted to look any deeper. But now retelling the story to Grace showed the wonderful truth. She nodded.